Welcome to the Greater Sarasota Coaches Alliance. It is January of a brand new year. I am Jackie Simmons. I am your facilitator. We always start our meeting with quick introductions and a couple of announcements. And there's Ingrid, cool. We're going to have an amazing speaker, Denise Hedges, who I will be introducing. Before we get to the speaker, though, let's let everyone talk about what's the most important thing to you, which is yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, whether or not you're a member of the GSCA. And because we are a small group today, you can have a full minute and also tell us why you're here at this meeting, what you're looking to take away. So we'll go around the room. And I'm going to start with sort of the way I saw you all come in, which means that Cheryl, you get to go first.
Great. What did you want us to say? Just introduce ourselves?
Yeah, you get to introduce who you are, what you do, whether or not you're a member of the GSCA, and what you want to take away from this meeting.
Okay.
Those are my four things, and I'll type them up for everybody.
Okay. My name is Cheryl Briney. I'm a life coach, and I specialize in ADHD and women's transition issues. I have a very small practice, and I like it that way. I like to keep it down to about 5 clients. I work primarily with parents and older students. Sometimes I work with younger. I've worked with as young as 7. It greatly helps me because I'm a retired teacher and guidance counselor. I'm also a social worker. And right now my mind isn't working very well because I'm participating in 2 positive psychology programs. One is called Positive Intelligence that we've talked about here at the meeting. I'm a member, and I'm just trying to absorb as much information as I can.
Awesome. Cool. Well timed. All right. So coming around, who I saw come in next was Barbie. She has dropped out. I'm assuming she'll drop back in. So we'll go with Christine.
Hi, I'm Chris Hannafin. I'm a licensed professional counselor, a doctorate in counseling psychology, and I do holistic work, which is extremely effective for people who have anxiety and depression or stress or can't meet a goal or have somebody that gets on their nerves. And I have been coming to the group possibly for about 10 years, not officially a member, since coaching isn't my main thing. And I'm sort of semi-retired, still active in working either in person or online via telehealth, as we are working right now via Zoom. All right. And I think that's most everything. I live in the Meadows in Sarasota.
What do you want to take away from today?
I always learn many things from the coaching group, but yes, marketing or subtle promotion, I want to learn that. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. So Joan.
Okay, I am Joan Learn. I am a member of the group. I joined soon after I moved to Sarasota from the Connecticut, New York area. For over 30 years, I have been involved in the outplacement business, including 4 firms, and one of them was my own, which means that I worked with client companies that fired people and hired us to help them get jobs. But about 3 years ago, while I was still with the Ayers Group, Career Partners International, I got certified as a retirement options coach. So I am now certified again. After I left the company, I had to certify again. So I work with people and help them get ready for that 3rd stage of life. And most of them do want to do something income producing. So I can help them do that. I do still do some outplacement job search, mostly remotely from clients up in the Connecticut area.
Wrap it up. 1 sentence. What do you want about from this meeting?
Well, because anything in sales, I'm interested in helping my clients and myself. And I want to get in touch with Christine because I live in the Meadows too.
Awesome. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Deb.
Hey, Deb Nazafero. I do coaching and consulting for the specialty food industry. Have been doing that for blah, 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 blah years. And I primarily focus on sales and marketing, emphasis on sales and trade marketing. So I'm always looking to sharpen the toolkit. I've been a member, I think 14 years with the GSCA. I hold the purse strings, if anybody doesn't know that. And you will all be getting invoices this week.
That's a subtle way.
There we go. So now we're all set up for that. And what do you want to take away from today?
Like I said, I'm always looking to sharpen the toolkit. Anybody on the call who isn't already getting Denise's newsletters, she is very inspirational and always has great ideas. So I highly recommend that you sign up for her newsletter.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, Stephanie, are you available to unmute? Because I know you might be at work.
No, I was eating lunch. That's why. So, fine. I will start video. Hi. Oh, sorry. I'm Stephanie Markuski. I'm an ADHD life coach. I'm a certified Tiny Habits coach. And crap, I gotta look at the list again. I am a GSCA member. Today I want to take away help with great marketing information because I never feel confident in my marketing. So there we go. Nice to see you all again.
Nice to see you all again too, even if we can't see you now. Got it. Okay. Coming around, we have Marilyn.
Oh, hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm Marilyn Gansell, and my background is sports psychology. I have just completed a third book that is being launched on the 18th, which is tomorrow. Okay. So I would like to take away more tools to market this, to get some podcasts out. I'm ready to rock and roll with all new things, workshops. I've been writing. Stephanie, if you're listening, I've already done yours that I'm doing in May. I'm so excited about it. I've done my PowerPoint presentation. I am a GSCA member and have been for a couple of years since I moved here from New York and Connecticut, as did Joan. So I want to take away any new things to get myself going and market my skills.
Awesome. Perfect. And like right on the money with time, Marilyn. Well done. All right. So coming around, we have Mona.
So I'm Mona Baker, and I'm a wellness movement practitioner and also the founder of the Actionomics Method. And I am a GSCA member, and I help, I use my patented method to teach people how to move in a brand new, pain-free way. My target market online are ballet dancers, and in person, just everyday movements. And when it comes to sales and marketing, I have to admit, I'm almost an open book. So I'm so grateful you're here today, Denise. Thanks so much for coming.
Wow. Awesome, Mona. That's probably the clearest I have ever heard your intro. Patricia.
Well, I need to meet Christine also because right now I'm working as a realtor and it's very stressful. So we all need help. But I'm also a mentor and have been in sales and marketing and management all my life. And I was a trainer and coach, but mostly in the sales end. So I live in Sarasota. I've been here for about 10 or 11 years. And I would, my takeaway would be to see if there's anything new to learn, because I'm always looking to learn something new in sales and marketing.
Awesome. That was 30 seconds. You network a lot, I can tell.
I'm from Philly. I talk fast.
Barbie, are you able to unmute? she may not be able to because she was going to be driving. So you can always have your intro at the end, Barbie, when you get where you're going. All right, we will skip over then to Ingrid.
Hello, great to be with you. So I'm a certified professional facilitator. I worked for more years than I care to remember as an organization development consultant. I've lived in Sarasota about 23 years, and I've been in and out of GSC a couple of times, many years ago, like I think a dozen years ago at least. And then I got super busy on the road and I sort of dropped the ball. Then I got back in when I retired. And I think the COVID and the whole online world kind of made me drop out again because I haven't been on these calls for a while. I'm not keen on working my field, particularly on Zoom. I've tried a couple of Zoom conferences. It's really not my bag, but I'm very interested, Denise, in learning more about book marketing and also always looking for insights about how this new world functions. Because I have colleagues who tell me they're busier than ever. And they're somehow doing team building and all this stuff remotely. And I find that incredible because I'm not sure I know how the heck to do that. But any insights along that line would be very helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Ingrid. All right. So that's everyone except Barbie. Did I miss anybody? Cool. And me. All right. I'm Jackie Simmons. I'm the creator and founder of a movement called Conscious Transformation. I certify coaches in a conscious transformational process that guarantees results for their clients first session and every session. And from that, we are planning to take over the world. I'm doing weekly workshops called Guaranteed Client Results Guaranteed. And those are free. And so everybody will hear about them. Our next one's in 2 weeks, and then it will be every week. And those are free. So that's my big excitement. I'm a member of the GSCA after being a visitor for probably a decade. And now I've been a member for over a decade. And I am here on multiple reasons. One is because as a speaker, I love to hear about speaking. And because, as Deb said, when Denise came and spoke 6 years ago, next month, it'll be exactly 6 years, I opted in and received information from her. And I think that she will have some great things to share with us. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and tell you a little more about our guest, who's helped thousands of coaches and other professionals and private practitioners move past uncertainty and fear around sales and marketing. It's about attracting clients and making a lot more money. So refining marketing messages, a big deal. And international business development, because we are no longer local businesses. I don't care how you do your business is no longer local. You're on Zoom, you're international by definition. So how to sell our services without hype or manipulation using core competencies. This will be interactive. So please keep your cameras on as much as possible. I will be moderating the chat until Ingrid takes over moderating the chat, because at the top of the hour, I will have to scoot. And so Ingrid will close it out. And at the very end, we will, of course, have our announcements and what's coming up and what's news with you. So let's see, anything else? Interactive. Start out being muted so that Denise can get started. And then feel free to unmute, raise your hand. If you raise your hand digitally, I'll see it. If you raise your hand visually, Denise might see it. And you can feel free to put things in the chat. Those are the rules of the game. Hang on. The ride's going to get more interesting from here. Thank you for being here, Denise.
Thank you, Jackie. It's good to be here. So I want to start by telling you a story. A little bit of my story. And I want to wind back the clock. And it's January of 2003, and I've just resigned my very secure, well-paid position with city government in order to build my coaching practice full-time. Now, I didn't walk away with a nice government pension. I actually walked away from a nice government pension. And I have a handful of clients, just a handful, paying me a total of $1,000 a month. And that's just not going to cut it. I have a year or less to build a full practice and replace the income and the benefits that I've just walked away from. Part of me is really scared. Part of me thinks this may have been the stupidest thing that I've ever done. And the other part of me knows, just knows, that this is my purpose. This is my passion. This is why God put me on this earth. And I have to make it work. I have to. Not just for me, but for all the people I'm here to serve. And I struggled at first doing all the things I now see new coaches and new business owners doing, emphasizing the wrong marketing strategies. But then I got strategic. I used my background in sales and marketing, taking what I knew from other industries and applied it to building a coaching and consulting practice. And that's when I started speaking. And I started fairly small at first, speaking to groups and organizations within an hour or two of my home. And whenever I spoke, I offered audience members the opportunity to do a complimentary coaching session with me. And more than 1,000 people have taken me up on it along the way. And I give them the best of myself, the best of my coaching in those complimentary sessions, because that's what I just like to do. And then I learned how to transition from those coaching conversations over to sales conversations in a way that made a real difference. And here's the key, ladies. I close sales because I always did my very best to come from service. And so with that strategy in place, speaking to fill the pipeline, to fill the funnel, followed by good, valuable one-on-one complimentary coaching sessions that gave people what they wanted and what they needed, I built a full practice, replacing all my income and those benefits I was so scared of leaving in just under a year. And since then, I've more than quadrupled my income using the tools and the strategies that we're going to talk about today. And I'm not here to tell you these things in order to impress you. I want to inspire you that you can do the very same things for your practices, no matter where you are in the life cycle of your practice. So I want to give you just a preview of what we're going to talk about today. Because not only do you have to be a good coach, a good trainer, a good consultant or facilitator, you've got to have those core skills of your practice, but you also have to be very good at two essential aspects of business building. And both of them are essential. You can't succeed with one and not the other. And so first, as many of you mentioned, you got to be good at marketing. You got to be good at getting yourself visible so that people know who you are. You're on their radar screen. They're on your radar screen. And then you also have to be really good at sales. And for a lot of coaches, that's the dreaded part, that awful sales word. And here's the thing. Selling is nothing more than finding a way to have a comfortable, genuine conversation with a prospective client in a way that serves them and in a way that gives them value. And those are the two areas that I really concentrate on in my practice these days. I help people with their marketing strategies, helping them to build a marketing plan and implement that plan so that they're doing the right things in the right ways. And then I also help them with the sales part, right? To get out of their head and all the stories about sales and filters they have in their head and get into their heart so they can have a genuine, comfortable conversation with the prospective client. And I know many of you mentioned you wanted help with marketing today, and today's presentation is really going to concentrate on the sales piece. And if we have any time at the end, I certainly will open up questions around marketing, but I want to make sure that you're aware that today we're concentrating on the sales side of sales and marketing. Okay? So what we're going to do today is first, we're going to talk about making the ask, right? How do you make the ask? When do you make the ask? Okay. Then we're going to look at the very specifics of how do you make that ask, right? How do you do it in a way that really turns out to land like an opportunity to people? And I want to give you a quick key to success in all of your sales and marketing efforts. And then we're going to talk a little bit about having the conversations, coaching people around any questions, any concerns, any objections they might have. So they really feel like they're being heard and they're being served. And so I want this interaction to be very interactive, to engage you. So please, if you could have your cameras on, it would be very helpful, because that's the best way we interact and engage. And I'm going to be asking you lots of questions, and I hope you'll be asking me questions as well. Okay? So my first question to you is, what's the purpose of all of your marketing? I know you're muted. You can unmute yourself at this point, unless you have background noise. What's the purpose of all of your marketing? Jackie?
So the purpose of my marketing is to help people be aware that there's a solution to their problem and that I might have it.
Help people be aware that there's a solution to their problem and you might have it. Good. Anybody else?
Awareness and credibility.
Awareness and credibility. Good, Deb. Anybody have a different answer?
To get clients.
Get clients. Yeah, Ingrid. You know, I asked that question all over the country, and most of the time, the answer is just that. All of my marketing is pointed. The purpose of it is to get clients. I hate to tell you this because you're my facilitator for later in the call, but I tricked you. Okay? The purpose of all of your marketing is not to get new clients. There's this business coach telling me the purpose of all of my sales and marketing is not to get new clients. That sounds crazy. The purpose of all of your marketing is to generate a further conversation, to generate more of a conversation with somebody. And the ideal conversation for you to have with that somebody is to do a complimentary coaching session with somebody. Because in that complimentary coaching session, you can listen to them, you can hear and really acknowledge what you heard, what their concerns are. You can have them experience coaching and see what kind of difference coaching can make with whatever they're presenting to you. And in other words, you can serve them. And when your sales and marketing goes from being about selling to being about serving, the pressure comes off of you, the pressure comes off of them, and it becomes so much easier. So for our purposes today, the purposes of all your marketing and your sales effort is to generate that further conversation, that complimentary coaching session. Does that make sense? Okay, good. And Ingrid, did you want to add something to that as well?
Well, thank you, Denise. Yes, actually, something you said really resonated with me. And that's because I got most of my initial work by speaking at conferences, which I think you said you did. And I would actually tell people that I was going to share my entire model for whatever it was that I was doing with them so they could do it themselves, and encourage them throughout to do it themselves, to use the tools, and never, ever suggested that anyone hire me or use me for anything. And I was always surprised at the end of it how much they would say, well, it made sense, but we still need you. So that they would come after me, and I would never, ever have a sentence come out of myself that sounded like I was selling anything to anybody.
Perfect.
I think that's what you're talking about.
great example with one little twist, Ingrid. What I want to show you today is you never, ever have to be salesy. You never, ever have to sell yourself. But where our approaches might differ a little bit is I'm going to show you how to make an offer for your services that's about a minute and a half long. I'll show you at the very end of the presentation so that you are making that offer for that continued connection, for that further conversation, but it never, ever occurs as salesy because you're not selling anything.
Okay, good.
Okay, but good point. Excellent. So we see as coaches, facilitators, consultants, doesn't matter if you're a consultant, a coach, a trainer, right? There's got to be a further conversation. And so we're going to really design this more towards coaching and talk about the complementary coaching session. Okay? Because that is the perfect opportunity for you to make the ask. Remember I said we were going to talk about how to make the ask, when to make the ask? Okay? So I want to talk to you about the complimentary session. I want to show you how I set up those complimentary sessions so that you can borrow any of the tools that make sense to you that you want to use. And then I'm going to demonstrate what I do in those complimentary sessions. I'm going to ask a couple of you to role play and just be the client. It's going to be easy. I'll be the coach. You'll be the client in the beginning. And then we're going to practice and we're going to play with those skills in the time we have together. Okay? So we're going to assume that the purpose of all of our marketing is that complimentary coaching session. And it's about 45 minutes long if you do it in the format in which I do it, okay? And I can't guarantee your results if you do it in a different format, but today my goal is to show you what I think is a very good format for that complimentary session. So soon after that person says, yes, I want to talk to you, I want to do a complimentary session. And I mean soon, within 24 to 48 hours, you want to be sending them an email confirming all of the logistics for your complimentary session. So whether you're going to be meeting in person, by phone, on Zoom, including a Zoom link, phone numbers, all of those logistical things. Okay, want to make sure that all of those things are clear. You also want to assign a little bit of homework for that complimentary session, because this is the one time in which you as the coach will provide a bit more of the agenda of what that call looks like. Now, I'm an ICF PCC coach, and I know the client always sets the agenda for the call. And in the complimentary session, they are not a client yet. They've probably never done a session like that. And so you want to help them, give them a format for that call. So you're going to send them 3 questions for them to think about and reflect on in your call. And you're going to tailor these questions to your specific industry, whether you're a wellness coach or a business coach, whatever, they're going to be tailored. But the first question pretty much is, what are your top goals? What is it that you would like to have, be, or achieve within, say, this period of time? If I was sending this out in January, I might say in 2022. Okay, halfway through the year, I might say in the next year to 18 months. So question number 1 is, what is it that you want? What are your goals? What are your objectives? Question number 2 is a 2-part question. And the question is, so what are the obstacles? What's been getting in the way of you achieving those goals? And you don't want to shy away from the second part of this question, which is, and what if you never, ever get to achieve those goals? What's that going to be like for you? Okay. And then the third question is, what does it look like when you're enjoying the benefits? You've realized all those goals. You have what you said you wanted. Tell us, what does that look like? What does it sound like? What does that feel like? So you send them these 3 questions ahead of time. They don't have to send you their answers. You're just asking them to reflect on these things, okay? And coming to the call in order to have a discussion around these three things. And those three pieces are going to make up your complimentary session. So in that email, you're confirming all of the logistics for the calls. You're giving them the format for the call by telling them about the three questions you'd like them to reflect on, okay? And then you're also letting them know that you have reserved this time just for them. And if for any reason they're unable to make your scheduled call, could they please give you a minimum of 24 to 48 hours notice so that you might be able to serve somebody else in that time frame? And what that does is that will cut down on any of your no-shows. So I'm going to take a pause there, and then I'm going to talk about the way my complimentary session is divided into three pieces. But first, I want to ask you, do you have any questions about the setup of the complimentary session? Anything I can answer for you? Okay, looks like we're clear. So let's talk about that complimentary consultation. In my mind, I divide a complimentary session into three parts. The first part is the welcome, the building rapport, and basically setting up the call, setting up the expectations of the call. The bulk of the call, 30, 35 minutes or so, and notice I'm saying call and it could be in person, right? 30 or 35 minutes or so it's a discussion, a coaching session specifically around those three questions that I just gave you, right? And where you may be coaching them more would be around what are the obstacles, what's getting in their way. And so you're going to lead them through in an organic kind of way, right? Those questions in the coaching session. And I'm not going to show you that part because that's where you're all skilled. You have those skills. You don't need me to teach you how to do a coaching session. But what I want to teach you is the setup of the call and the close of the call. So we have the setup of the call, the establishing rapport, setting expectations. We have the 30, 35 minutes in the middle of the call where you're actually coaching them around their goals, their obstacles, their dreams. And then you have the close of the call, which I'll explain later, is where you move into, if it feels right, and we'll explain what that means, right? Whether or not they'd like to work with you. Right? So what I'm going to do, if we don't have any questions, if you do, just raise your hand. What I would like to do is to model the opening of that call with somebody. So you can see what it looks like, especially the setting expectations part. So who's going to be my client? Who's going to be my potential client? And you probably have to say, like 2 or 3 times. Cheryl went off the video the minute I said, who's going to be my client? So who's going to be? Okay, Mona, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm going to have you take yourself off mute.
I said I'm an open book.
There you go. Thank you. So Mona, we're going to just set this up just as we're on a phone call. So I'm going to go ring, ring, and hello, and then we're going to go from there. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Okay. Ring, ring, hello.
Hello.
Hi, is this Mona?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Mona, how are you today?
I'm doing just great, Denise. So delighted to hear from you. Thank you for calling.
Oh, it's great to meet you. I was really happy to meet you at the Greater Sarasota Coaches, and I really welcome this opportunity to get to know you better today.
I do too. Thank you.
Yeah. Is it okay if I tell you a little bit about what we're going to do together today?
That would be wonderful.
Wonderful. So here's the thing. Number one and most important is that I am here to serve you today. That's my job, is to be of service today. And what I need from you in order to do that is if you could tell me what's going on for you, where your challenges are, where your pain points are, be a little bit vulnerable with me so we can really talk about what's going on for you. And then I promise to always have your best interests at heart, because truly I'm all about service. Is that all okay with you?
Sounds absolutely fabulous. Thank you.
Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through those questions I sent you for homework in the email. Did you have a chance to look at those?
Just a brief chance.
Just a little bit. Okay, good. That's all you needed, because they're questions about your life, Mona. There's nothing you had to study for. I'm sure you can answer these questions. So I'm sure you're good, okay?
Okay.
All right, good. So we're going to spend 35 minutes or so, the bulk of our call, really just exploring around those questions or wherever they take us. Because those questions take me in all kinds of different directions with different people, but they almost always take me where that person needs to go. So we're going to trust that, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. And so towards the end of the call, I'll probably tell you a little bit more about how my coaching works. And if you and I are a good match, the energy's good, we resonate well together, and if we both see that there are specific things that I can help you with. So if both those conditions are met, we're a good match, and there's some things I can help you with, then I'm going to come straight out and ask you if you're interested in the possibility of working together.
Great.
But there's no obligation. It's simply an invitation to look and see whether we'd make a good team. Now, is that okay with you?
Sounds super. Right on. Just what I'm looking for.
Great. Good. And Mona, everything you tell me is absolutely confidential. I just want to know that. Okay. And then I would ask Mona if she has any questions for me before we start, and we jump in from there. Okay. Thank you so much. So what was that like for you, Mona, to be on the other side of that?
You know, your sense of confidence, your credibility, all of that came through so powerfully. You're really grounded. I love the pacing. I really felt totally comfortable and invited to be in with you in that moment. So it was really wonderful. You just took me right in to your frame of reference and made me feel I was just so comfortable. And for me, and I'm sure many of the prospects, it's a scary area because you're struggling with this big, gigantic block. And I'm hearing you have a way to be able to break that into pieces, decode it, and give me back a gift that I need to be able to move forward in my business. So it was wonderful. Your pacing, your phrasing was just so articulate. I really felt it was an amazing experience. So, wow, if I could learn to do that, I would feel great.
And you can learn to do that. It's not all that hard, right? Because you're warm, right? It's just a matter of getting comfortable with the format, with the process, right? Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to set up, not trying to, we're setting up a safe place, right? We're establishing safety and trust in the first part of that call. We're also getting clear on the expectations. Now, how many of you were surprised that I told her if we were a good match and if I could help her with some things, I was going to ask her at the end of the call whether or not she wanted to work with me? Was that a surprise to some? Yep. Deb, Ingrid, yep. Cheryl. Why do you think I did that? Yeah, Mona.
I think it was to gain a sense of trust because you're not hiding anything. You just said where we're going, and you're also setting in my mind. You do have a solution because you're going to offer something to go further, and there's a possibility of. I just think that I thought there was no surprises, so I was trusting you. I didn't want. You wouldn't have, if you did it at the end, then I would have been surprised. And then that would have might have felt a little on the salesy side to me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Marilyn and then Deb.
Yeah, I felt there was no pressure, Denise, and you were inviting and you were telling who you're going to be of service. And sometimes, you know, you're not a match because I've had my own business and I know that to be true. So if you're going to work as a team, you need to find that camaraderie and that trust. So I agree with Mona too.
Great. Thank you, Marilyn. Deb?
Yeah, I think you were just setting the expectation. I'm giving you a freebie here, but if there's, if we connect and we make beautiful music together, let's continue.
Okay, good. So I'm doing it for two reasons. One is exactly what you guys talked about, okay? Is I'm setting the expectations because whenever somebody gets something for free, what are they thinking? Where's that sales cut? When are they going to turn into the salesperson? Go and test drive a car and get out of that car and figure out, okay, now the sales pitch is coming, right? And so if the potential client is worried, concerned in any way, shape, or form about when and where you might get salesy or they're going to have to decide whether they want your services, it's going to make them uncomfortable. So my goal is to make them comfortable and also to let them know, first of all, the parameters. We got to be a good match. I got to help you, feel like I can help you. And I'm going to do that at the end of the call. And what that does is it lowers that anxiety about when's the sale coming kind of thing, so they can be present to the coaching. Okay. And there's also a very important second reason why I do it that way. And that is, if you don't do it that way, when are you just going to spring this on them? Somebody kind of mentioned this, right? You got to have a placeholder for that. If these conditions are met, then I'm going to ask, right? Most coaches and consultants, a lot of business owners are uncomfortable making the ask. I'm setting it up so the client expects the ask, prospective client, but I'm also setting it up for you. I'm giving you a placeholder, a bucket to put that in. Because here's the thing, I don't have any sales hesitancy because I'm always coming from service sales. It doesn't make me uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. And if I just had to spring that on them at the end, coaching. So when do you want to work with me? Do you want to work? I mean, where would you just throw that in, right? It's not really a good idea. Just toss that out. So I'm giving you a placeholder. I'm giving them a placeholder. Does that make sense? Any questions about what we've done so far? None so far? Okay. All right. So remember, we've got 3 sections to the complimentary session. You just saw Mona and I demonstrate the first part. Then we move straight into the coaching. And we're not going to demonstrate that piece because that's when you're going to really do your coaching, your consulting, the thing you're facilitating, what you're used to doing, right? And then at the end of the call, I said we're going to make the ask, and we're going to talk about that, how you make the ask and the specifics of that. And before we do, I want to give us some background so that you have some distinctions to listen to this through. Okay? So somewhere around 75 to maybe 80% of the people you talk to are going to have some kind of concern, objection, question around whether or not to hire you for your services. 75 to 80%. Now that's the good news, because what that means is they have questions. They want to talk to you more. They're giving you an opportunity for a further conversation. Okay. Now, there's only 7 main objections that people have. 7 main objections. Okay. You've probably heard them in your coaching, so I want you to unmute yourself. Let's see if together we can describe what the 7 main objections are. What have you heard?
Time, money,
Time and money. Great. What else?
Not right. Well, not ready.
Not ready, which is different than I don't have the time, right? So, yep. Patricia, I'm not ready. Good. What else?
Let me think about it.
Let me think about it. Yep. Excellent.
It's scary.
It's scary. So let's see. So that's a hesitancy of some sort. And I can't really tell what kind of objection that is. It could be one about you haven't created the full value for somebody, or it could be something else, Deb. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Am I going to really get what I need out of this?
Unsure of value,
Yep.
right? Am I really gonna, it's scary because am I really gonna get what I need out of this? Yeah. Okay.
How about past failure?
Okay, that's still same thing about the unsure value because the past failure is impacting that, right?
It's more towards, I've tried so many things. Why would this be any different?
Why would this be any different? Exactly. Again, an unsure of value kind of objection.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk about each of them. Okay. I want to talk to
Somebody else.
right, Patricia, anybody else, right? I want to talk to my husband, my partner, my business partner, my boss, whoever that is, right? I'm going to want to talk to somebody else, right? That's another objection. And there's one more that's kind of like this one.
I need time.
Time. We talked about the time one. Yeah.
No, time to think it over. Time to just think it over.
Right. Yep. I'm not ready. I need time.
I'm talking to another counselor, another coach.
I want to talk to another provider. Yeah. Okay, so I want to show you this so you have them all down. If you don't already. Here are the big 7. Money. I want to think about it. I don't have the time. I need to consult with a third party. I'm not ready. I want to talk with other providers, or I believe I can do this myself. And then there's various different ones that fall under unsure of value. And you guys gave us several examples of those, okay? But here's good news. There's only 7. And if you learn what to do with those 7 objections, how to have conversations around those, it makes a big difference. Okay. Any questions about this so far? Okay. So there's a way to deal with each one of these objections. And you want to practice conversations around each one of those objections. But I want to give you enough skills today in order to get 75 to 80% of the way. Okay, because we can't role play each objection and teach you how to do each objection, but I can get you 3/4 and more of the way there. Okay, so let's talk about what we do in terms of when it comes to this part of the call, when somebody has given you an objection and you're hoping that you can talk further about that objection. Okay, and so this is my list of the 4 A's. In the first A, you want to ask permission. You want to ask permission right out of the gate, and you want to ask permission throughout this whole objection phase as you're in conversation. You never want to feel like you're running in to overcome an objection, old sales method, overcoming objections, but rather you're asking their permission to have a conversation together, to come together and turn in the same direction and have a conversation. And you also want to acknowledge what you heard, what their objection is, what their concern is, the feelings that you hear behind those objections. Now, you can ask permission first and then acknowledge, or you can acknowledge and ask permission. It doesn't matter as long as you do both. So somebody says, "Ooh, I don't know, that's a lot of money." It is a lot of money. It is an investment. Do you want to talk about that some more? A couple of sentences, I've just done both of those. Okay. Too many people go in to overcome that objection. And if I'm feeling like somebody's going to overcome my objection, what am I going to do? I'm going to back up and I'm going to protect myself. And you want them to come forward. That is a lot of money. Would you like to talk about that some more? Any kind of version of that. Okay. The next thing you want to be sure that you're doing is ask lots of questions. Sign on my wall in my office when I first started coaching 20 years ago, and it said in capital letters, WAIT. Why am I talking? Because as a good coach, right, one who's really going to ask powerful questions, open up awareness for folks so they have insights, then your role is to ask questions, especially during this piece of the quote unquote objection phase. You know, I just got to tell you quickly, we live in Asheville, North Carolina, which was supposed to get 18 inches of snow the other day, and with likelihood of 30 to 45 mile an hour winds. And we live on the side of a mountain. And if we lose power, we aren't getting out. There's no way. Okay. So what we did, so I would make sure that I had a power source for this event today, is we booked our timeshare in Charleston, South Carolina, so that we could come here, stay here for a few days, get out of the potential snow and storm, and be here so that I could not only serve my clients, but be here uninterrupted for you ladies today. What do you think they did when we got into our timeshare? The first thing they did before we even got here is they called us to try to sell us on having an owner's update. Okay. My husband, Tom, had the person on the phone, on speakerphone, and she never took a breath. I was just listening to this, and she never took a breath. All she did was give me all of the reasons, or give him all of the reasons why we needed to do this owner update, blah, 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 right? She didn't connect with us. She didn't ask questions, none of that, okay? We come, we check in yesterday, right? Guess what they do again? Same thing, and we've already declined the owner's update. There was a point that I said to her very nicely, you know, one of the things I do as a coach is I coach people around sales. And one of the things I'm hearing here is that you're not hearing my no. No means no, right? That's not the kind of objections phase that I want you to be in. And I don't think most coaches would be. But here's the point. If you're making a lot of declarative statements, then you're probably going to default to some sort of convincing or persuading. If you're asking questions, you're curious about where they are. Okay, so ask lots of questions. And then the next one always surprises me. Schedule the next step. Always schedule the next step. Even my clients say to me, I did a complimentary session. It was a great match, blah, blah, blah. So what's the result? Oh, they're going to call me back. And I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're not going to call you back. For every day that passes from the time you hang up the phone with them, the possibility of what they saw for themselves disappears. They start to convince themselves, no, I don't really need that, whatever, right? Now, I'm not talking about being persistent in the way of being obnoxious. Somebody says, you know, I need to think about this. You talk to them about, you ask permission, you talk to them about what kinds of things they want to think about. You make sure all their questions are answered. And then you say to them something like, I want to make sure you have all the time to think about this to make the best decision for yourself. How about we get back together within about a week or so and we close the loop? And we can talk about whether this is something you want to do, whether you have further questions, or if it's not right for you. But we get the next step on the calendar right then and there. That makes a huge difference. And if they do not want to schedule the next step, and you haven't been pushy about it, okay, this can't come from pushiness, okay, and if they won't schedule the next step, that could be the way in which they say no. People are very hesitant to say no. And so sometimes they say no by avoiding. So I want to teach you in our role play today how to ask permission, acknowledge where they are, ask questions, and if it's appropriate, schedule that next step. Okay, I want to pause here and see what questions you have. Anybody?
There's nothing in the chat, Denise. It seems very straightforward.
Okay, good. Thank you, Jackie. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the third piece of that complementary session. So remember, after you've done the coaching them on their goals, their obstacles, you've moved towards the vision, and make sure you do them in that order. Obstacles first, vision next. Okay. If you reverse them, they don't work as well. And then you will say to somebody, is it okay if I tell you how I think I can help? Is it okay? Notice the permission. If I tell you how I think I can help, notice how soft that is versus let me tell you how I can help you. Not that you'd say that. Okay. That opens up the third phase of the call, which is moving towards asking them if they want to work together. Okay. Typically at this point, when you say to somebody, is it okay if I tell you how I think I can help? If you've done a good job in the complimentary session, they're like, please, yes, right? Sometimes 10% of the time, and this is the most fun, right? Is they say, how can you help me? Tell me how you can help me, okay? So you've got to have your process, your 3 to 5 step process of how you think you can help ready, like a generic process of how you work with your ideal target client, and then you customize that to what you've heard in the call, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to role play the end of the complimentary session. I'm going to do it briefly, and then I'm going to ask one of you to step up to the plate and try it for yourselves. Because when you become the coach, trying these methods, that's how you most learn. So first, I'm going to be the coach. Who's going to be my prospective client? Who wants to be my client so we can close out this coaching session? This is the easy part. Okay, Marilyn, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, we all have to assume here that we've already had a full 45-minute complimentary consultation, okay? I know what Marilyn's main goals are, what her concerns are, that kind of thing. And I'm going to have to, Marilyn, we're going to have to shortcut this for this purpose, right? And I'm going to assume that you're a business owner who wants to grow your business.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That's perfect.
Okay. And I want you to have one objection in mind. Not 7, but 1.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a major objection? One you can
Yes.
You don't have to tell me what it is. I'll figure it out. Okay.
I know you will.
All right. So, Marilyn, is it okay if I tell you how I think I can help?
Sure. Yes, please.
So what I heard is that you really want to grow your practice. but you're unsure about how to exactly go about doing that. And I have a process that I think could be helpful here. And in the process, we'll look at who's your ideal target client, right? Who's that target market? And having an elevator speech that really sings so that you're comfortable speaking about what you do. And that when you speak about what you do, you're talking in terms of the benefits, results, and outcomes that that person wants. You're speaking their language. Then from there, we're going to look at the various marketing strategies and which marketing strategies are ones that really drive business and which marketing strategies are nice to have as part of your marketing mix, but aren't going to drive new clients to your door. And we're going to look at those marketing strategies and figure out which ones will work best for you. I'll help you implement those marketing strategies. I'll teach you how to do a complimentary session, much like I do. We'll set your pricing. We'll talk about the sales process, any concerns you have about that. And the bottom line is, as your coach, I'm here to encourage you, to support you, to provide you with the resources you need, and to celebrate our successes together. How does that sound?
Well, it sounds great, but it also
Don't give me your
sounds like,
objection yet. Okay.
it sounds great.
Okay, because the only reason why I want to do this is because at some point, unless she really was a real play, okay, I wouldn't interrupt her, because I want you to be able to say, how does that sound? That sounds good. That's typically what they'll say. And then you would say, so what do you think? Would you like to work together? And I interrupted you because I wanted to make sure we get that piece in there. Okay, so what do you think? Would you like to work together?
I'd like to work together, yeah.
But
it just sounds like it's going to be, so expensive for me. I'm just starting my business. I'm trying to find clients. It's maybe out of my range. Maybe I need to look further.
Maybe you need to look further.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just given me 2 objections, right? Did you hear the second one? I need to look further. Yep, Deb's shaking her head. Yes. Okay, good. So what I would say to Marilyn is, you're right. It is an investment. And it may not be in your range because you are brand new to your business. You're just starting out. You're trying to find clients, right? You're not sure where the income's going to come through, right? Come from.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about that some more? Or are you pretty clear that this isn't right for you?
I might want to talk about it a little bit more. Maybe there's some options.
So we can talk about it some more, and I don't want you to feel any obligation whatsoever, but let's explore if there are some options. Does that sound okay?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So it's interesting that you came up with maybe there's some options. Tell me what you've been what you're thinking. What came to mind?
I guess I need to know what this whole marketing plan or coaching session, I don't know whether you do packages, you do by the hour. I don't know how much I'm going to need. I don't know if I'm going to be committed for a year, 3 months. And I'm trying to, get my business afloat, work with clients. I don't know if you have a payment kind of plan, or you have, some people actually have specials that they offer from time to time. So I don't know.
So what you're really saying is I need to know what my options are. What are
Yes.
what are the options, right?
Yeah, you got any?
Because notice, ladies, that what I did was I asked her if she wanted to work together prior to telling her how much I cost. Okay. Here's the reason. I'm going to step back into the role play for a second. Okay. So Marilyn, I'm happy to tell you about my packages and pricing. Okay. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to ask you a question first, if I might.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Yes.
If we could work out the financial aspect, let's set that aside for now. Am I the right person to help you? Do you feel comfortable and confident that I could help you?
I do. I feel very confident you could help me.
Okay. What I've done there, I'm stepping out of the role play again if for teaching, is that we first need to see whether or not she feels like this is a really good match together. Because if it's not a good match, it doesn't matter if I cost $1.95. Okay. So I want to be sure of that. So then I would give her my 2 options of coaching packages. I would explain the different options. We'd look at it because what she's telling me in this particular role play is I might want to work with you. I think you might be too expensive, but I don't really know. I haven't even heard your pricing yet, right? And I need more information. So I would give her that information. Okay. Now, I'm going to step out of the role play again for a second, just to teach you. Here's the thing about the money objection. Couple things. First of all, people give a money objection to cover up all kinds of other objections. So you really want to see if the money objection, and we don't have 2 hours here together today. Otherwise, I'd role play the whole thing with you. But I want to find out, is it truly a money objection or is it something else? She's unsure of the value or whatever it is. Okay, so we're going to dig into that. If it were really indeed the money, let's say I'm going to make up that my options are $3.95 a month and $5.95 a month. Let's just say I gave her 2 options, one at $5.95, one at $3.95. And she's concerned about money. I need to find out in a very validating way whether she's close to being able to afford one of those options, or if she's thinking coaching would be more like $50 a month and she's way outside the range. Okay. So Marilyn, I've just given you 2 options, let's say, and this is not how I would do it, but I'm trying to shortcut it for our time here together. So we've got 3 times a month at $5.95. We've got twice a month at $3.95. I've told you that includes email access to me, short calls, my marketing and editing services. So what do you think?
I think that I could swing the $3.95.
Okay, so she made it easy for me.
Well, then if you want me to make an objection, I'll do that. Oh, gee, I can do that the other way too, Denise. I can say, I don't know. There's still even that $3.95 is a bit pricey for me.
So Marilyn, you probably had an idea in mind before we started talking together today of what you could invest in your coaching, because you are just starting out. You're new at this, and you want to make sure that it feels reasonable with your budget. So what did you have a sense of that you could invest in your coaching?
Reasonably, when I look at my checkbook and everything, I would say $200 a month.
$200.
I don't want to insult you.
Okay. All right.
Because I know you're good.
So just to cut down to the role play, just so I can give you the value here. Okay, she's not going to stretch to $3.95 in all probability for $200. But when I do a pricing strategy with my newer coaches and lots of coaches, we have 3 options of pricing. We give the client 2 options. Notice I gave her the $5.95 and the $3.95, right? Well, I've created a 3rd option. I call the first ones internally gold and then silver. The 3rd one is bronze, but I don't give people that option because it's not for everybody. And it might not serve that. But what I could do in this case, and here's the big if I want Marilyn as a client because she's a good match, I feel like we resonate well and I could help her, okay? Then I may give her my 3rd option, which might be 1 coaching call a month for that $200 a month, okay? If that indeed is my pricing. So now we have another option without me ever cutting my fees. You do not want to be the low cost leader and, oh, well, I'll do it for $200. Okay. Well, thank you, Marilyn. I
No,
appreciate
that's really great. Thank you, because I've heard lots of objections like that before, so I needed to hear that.
Okay, good.
How you handle it.
All right. So I just want to take 5 minutes and I want one of you to try it. Just try it. It's going to start with, so what do you think? Would you like to work together? Okay. So who's going to be the potential client in this circumstance? Who's going to reach out and be the client? All you have to do is have an objection. This is the scary part, just even being the client. Do, 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 do. This is where we sing the Jeopardy music. Who would like to be the client in this situation? Or who's willing to be the client with an objection? Okay, let's try the other end. Who's willing to step up to the plate to get something of value, to learn the system? Who's willing to be the coach? And if you volunteered before, that's fine. Who is willing to step up to the plate and be the coach? This is where the breakthroughs happen.
I think you're going to have to pick someone.
I'm not going to do it. We'll do something.
Okay.
All right, because everybody, oh yeah, they're all volunteering. I'm like,
All right, so you know what? I'll try, but I don't have all my notes in order, so I'm
doesn't
gonna need a
matter.
lot of help.
go with your gut, Marilyn. You're going to be the
Coach,
coach.
right? Yes.
Okay.
Are you my
Excellent.
client?
We're only going to do a 3 to 4 minute role play. Okay.
So you're my client.
I'll be your client.
Okay, Denise. So,
And thank you.
so Denise, what do you think? We can work. How do you feel about working together?
Okay. Now go to the other question. Let's close. What do you feel about working together? Be a little bit more direct.
How would you like to work with me?
Okay. Would you like to work with me?
Would you like to work with me?
Like to work together? Notice how hard it
Work
is
together.
to ask that question. It's not just Maryland. In every group I do this in, it's so hard to come out with that question. What do you think? Would you like to work together? Try it again. What do you think?
So Denise, what do you think? Would you like to work together?
I think I would. I really like you. I think that you could help me. I just don't quite know if I'm really ready for coaching yet.
Yeah, I hear you. Would you mind if we discussed that or talked a little bit about that? About your ready, if you're ready or not?
Very nice. Ask permission. No, I'd love to talk about that some more. Thank you.
So what is it about getting ready for this?
Well, I'm pretty busy as it is. I have so much going on in my life, and I'm not exactly sure how am I going to fit this coaching stuff into. I've got a high pressure job. I've got a high pressure family, little kids, that kind of thing. I'm not sure that I'm ready to invest the time and energy.
I hear that you are a very busy woman, but you also said it's an investment and you came looking for a solution. And I believe that we can work together and explore, at least start exploring even today, a little bit about what would you need to really get ready.
Okay, good. Very good. And did you guys hear, my New Yorkers coming out, did you hear a little bit, just an edge of a convincing?
Yes, I did.
You heard it too, right?
I did. And that's why I pulled back.
Good. Excellent. Really, really, really good job. Because you felt it, you heard it, and you pulled back and said, which was the basic question, what would you have to do to be ready? Mm-hmm. What does being ready look like to you?
Right.
What would have to be in order to be ready? Good job, Marilyn. Okay. Well, to be ready, I don't know. Marilyn, how much time would I have to invest in this?
How much time would you have to invest in this? How much time are you willing to invest in this?
Yeah. And so I know you haven't done the full 45-minute coaching session with me to know what my goals are.
Yeah, I
right?
don't.
And that would be the perfect opportunity to say, well, what I heard you say is that you want to create this, 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 and this in our coaching session. What do you think it's going to take? What's it going to take in your busy life, right? You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to let you off the hook. You did really, really well.
Oh, no, you guys are all so good. Thank you.
She caught herself. You could hear, I wanted you guys to hear the edge of she began to almost talk too much, and then she asked me the question. And when you go to the question, it makes all the difference. So here are the key things I want you to take away from today. The first one is that the purpose of all of your marketing is not to get new clients, but rather the purpose of your marketing is to generate that further conversation, that complimentary coaching session or that complimentary consultation, because that is the opportunity to serve somebody, to listen to their concerns, to acknowledge their concerns, right? To have them experience coaching firsthand, see what kind of difference it can make, right? So the complimentary consultation is really your opportunity to serve somebody. And that's why you're in a helping profession to begin with, because you wanted to serve. I'm pretty sure that's a big part of your motivation. Now, you still have to find a way to offer yourself and your services as a viable option, but that viable option has to land like an opportunity. Okay? And the best way for that to land like an opportunity for people is to always remember the 4 A's. Ask lots of permission along the way. Acknowledge what you heard, what you think they're feeling, what you think you heard. Acknowledge, acknowledge, acknowledge. Ask lots of permission. Ask questions. Notice if you start to make statements that you start to move into convincing a little bit. We saw a great example of that, and she pulled back, right? And then always schedule the next step. So the key is to take something you've heard today and to put it into action so you can have a life and a business that fulfills you in every way possible. You see, the things we're talking about today aren't very difficult to understand. It's not brain surgery. They're pretty easy concepts, right? But to master these concepts takes a whole lot of practice, and it takes a whole different way of being. Okay? So you might be somebody who needs help with your marketing. You need help figuring out what are the best strategies for you. How are you going to get those potential clients in the door so you can have conversations with them? Or you might be somebody who really wants to get more comfortable, more confident with the conversations you're having already. Whether you need help on the sales side or you need help on the marketing side, right? If this is something that's important to you and you would like to schedule a complimentary coaching session with me, I want to give you the opportunity to do that. And our complimentary session will really have 3 purposes. First, we'll get to know each other, right? And you get to experience my business development coaching firsthand to see what kind of impact it can have on you, your business, your bottom line. You get to check me out to see if I might be the right coach for you. I get to check you out because I would want to make sure you're the right kind of client I can help. It's free. We'll do it over the phone or on Zoom, and there's no obligation. There is no point at which I turn into the used car salesman. What you see is what you get. So if you're somebody who really wants to avail yourself of this opportunity, then all you need to do is shoot me an email at Denise at denisehedges.com. Let me put that up for you, and we can schedule a time to talk. Okay? And I also know that I work best with high achievers. So if you're somebody who thinks you might be a good match for me, if you've been successful in other areas of your life, and now you just want to build out this business to have even more success, show me you're a high achiever by emailing me today, tonight, before you go to bed, to show that you're really in action. Okay? So we have just a couple of minutes before they have some closing remarks. Do you have any last burning questions that you want to ask? Anybody have a question? Yes, Mona.
So it's been recommended to me as a sales tool to have assessments, to use an assessment form. Do you ever recommend that as a tool to work with prospects?
So I do use several assessments and tools. They can be obviously anything from the DISC to time mastery to, values assessments, those kinds of things. They can be very useful throughout the coaching practice, your coaching practice throughout the process. And Mona, I don't really use a tool to drive business, because what drives business, the number one reason people hire you as a coach or a consultant or a trainer is because they like you and trust you. Studies across the board have shown they got to like you and trust you. That's why they hire you. And so you want to lead with more of you, I believe, and less of a tool.
Okay.
And although the format for the complimentary session is a tool kind of in and of itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did that answer?
Yeah, I think that for what Mona does, she's assessing people's physical needs. A little assessment might be her answer to the 3 questions, the homework.
Right. Great. So as a health coach, right? Ask me what my 3 goals are, right? I want to be more flexible. I want to lose 20 pounds. You're right. Those are that's kind of an assessment tool as in and of itself. Thanks, Deb. That was helpful. Yeah. Any other questions? Ingrid.
I'm actually responsible for tying this up. So Jackie had to leave the meeting and asked me to come here and do this. So I'm wondering if perhaps what we shouldn't do right now is give everyone a chance to, let's all tell Denise the main takeaway that we have from today, because I'm sure I've seen people making notes. I've made a whole bunch. So we'll just go straight down the row of people that I see very, very briefly. So I'll start with Deb. What was the thing that you heard today from Denise that you made note of and will use in your practice?
Yeah, so I do everything that Denise does, except people always say to me, so how do we work together, about 40 minutes in? So it's that asking a lot of questions. So my takeaway is to send them that little piece of homework so that the coaching session is, I don't call it a coaching session, I call it a consulting session, but it's a little bit more formatted and organized, expectations are set. So a lot of that. And then I thought the drawing out their objections and dealing with them was excellent. So that was very helpful.
Terrific. Okay, so how about Marilyn? Takeaway? I think you're muted. Marilyn, I think you're muted.
I know, I had to get unmuted. I'm
Sorry.
sorry. Had to be fast. Anyway, I learned so much, Denise. I want to thank you very, very much. I love the fact that it's not just about getting clients. It is that authentic, genuine conversation that you have with people, because we are all in the business of serving. You are absolutely right. And I loved, as Deb said, the agenda, setting those expectations so that when, you have the call, they know where they're going, you know where they're going, and it's not too scary for them to have that conversation. It's a comfortable setting. It's a good starting point. And I just loved everything you did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great. How about Mona? Takeaway from this?
So I loved everything about it. It was absolutely wonderful. As I said, I was an open book. But one thing that really struck me, the objections. And that was such a, how you worked that and brought that to light. That was really important. I haven't dealt with that, but I realized I need to. And that was such a display of information that was extremely helpful. But everything, it was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How about Joan?
Yes, I thought it was an excellent presentation, very detailed. But I liked the big 7 objections. I've always known about the money objection and time, but it was good to see that she's got 7 objections so that you're figuring out which one they're thinking about.
Very good. All right, I think you're last, Stephanie, because I think the other folks have unfortunately left us.
No problem. Yes, Denise, this was amazing. Honestly, I think you did quite a bit of coaching in this one that we'd have to pay for. Like I'm looking at paying somebody for. So thank you. This has been amazing. I love the 4 A's. Definitely am going to add those in there. I love the setting the expectations from the beginning and letting them know this is an actual conversation. We're not talking sales until the last 5 minutes. And I thank you so much. I've enjoyed this very, very much.
Wonderful. So I don't think I missed anyone. So let me just say that for me, it was also what Deb said. I had never done that before. I think if I had a client that called me or emailed me to have a call, I would send them questions. I think it shows that you have structure in mind and that they're dealing with someone who has a methodology. So I think, Denise, that was really a great contribution. And your presentation today reminded me of that time. I didn't realize it was 6 years ago when we were all together in the room, and very dynamic. I think there's a certain amount of dynamic part of your whole interaction that I think we can all learn from and be reminded of. That energy that you bring to it really adds a tremendous amount. We only have very few minutes because I know 2:30 is a drop dead moment certainly for me and for others. Would there be any other announcements that anyone needs to make? Deb, do you have anything about next month or anything like that that you just want to quickly remind people about?
I do. I have I thought I wasn't going to share it, but hold on. I do have it. I'm sorry. I sent it to Jackie thinking she was going to do it, and I didn't realize I had closed it. Hold on half a second.
Well, don't stress about it. If you can't find it, we'll look for it in the emails.
Oh,
there it is. She found it. Ah.
Oh, I went to all the trouble of making it this morning.
Thank you. There it is.
1 in the morning or something. And yeah. So anyway, we have Mitchell Levy, and he's done 2 TED Talks. So I did want everybody to have this, and Deb Davis has it. It'll go up on the website shortly, like she usually does it today or tomorrow. And you really should go watch the TED Talk beforehand. So we'll put that in the notice that get to know this guy, because like Denise, he's very dynamic and has a lot to offer, and it's a little different subject.
That sounds really great. And that sounds really different too from things that have been on the program before. So yep. I don't know how you come up with this, but it's a really good find. So thank you. On that, can we bring closure? Is there anything else that anyone has as an announcement, something we need to know before we say our final thanks to Denise? Lost her. There she is. I see Denise. Okay. Any other thoughts from anyone? Mona's got something.
I do. Next week, I am doing my first 5-day challenge
Wow.
at 2 in the afternoon. And if you have an interest, you can put your email in the chat, and I'll make sure to include you in my mail out. And it's complimentary, it's free. It's about 45 minutes each day. And I will be presenting a whole new mind and body engagement to connect with your joints so you can learn how to release and activate your joints. And we work with one joint for each day. And it's a lot of fun. So I'm really excited. This is a new adventure for me.
So Monday through Friday at 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations. That sounds great.
Thank you so much, Ingrid.
All right. So if no one has anything else, oh my God, we're right on time for 2:30. And if, unless there's something dire, I'm going to sign off. And sounds like next month is going to be really fantastic. So look forward to being back with you all again. So thank you
Thanks,
all. And thank
Denise.
you, Denise, for going all the way to South Carolina. Oh my
Thank
God. So you could be with us. Much
Right.
appreciated.
All right. Bye-bye,
Thank you.
ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.